Hello everyone, here comes another Homeworlds game review. This is going to be a game between Crit1Calends and Amnykon, and I had a couple of requests that I try running these replays in the Homeworlds live sandbox rather than directly on Board Game Arena where they were played. The big advantage to doing them on Board Game Arena is that there are animations and that you can see the turns play out one action at a time. And the advantage here is that we won't see canceled actions, and I'm actually able to go back if I missed something. So we'll see how this goes. Crit1Calends is going first. All right, they pick a typical homeworld. This is a fortress setup. All right, and Amnykon takes a yellow home star. I kind of like it when the homeworlds don't have the exact same color set up. It makes things a little more interesting, a little more quickly. All right, so they're both going to build. Now Crit 1, all right, they go for the small yellow trade, probably because there's a small yellow in Amnykon's home, so the yellows will open up into mediums fastest. Amnykon does the same. I think that's smart. Crit builds the medium. Amnykon probably will too, yes. Now the homeworlds are 3 moves apart from each other, so neither can reach the other just yet. Let's see what Crit does. They go ahead and they move out. So I've been thinking of this move as loading the gun lately. This little guy is like a bullet now that could be fired clear over into Amnykon's home because of the yellow 2 sacrifice. So Amnykon will want to trade or move one of these for sure. Yeah, and they move out. And so moving out the medium is a better basis for a well-defended colony, since it's safer against invasion by mediums, but they don't have a piece that could reach Crit's home this way. All right, let's see what Crit does. They build green, so I guess they feel like it's a stalemate in the yellows already. I think I agree at the moment. Neither of them wants to be the person to take the medium and open up the larges to the other player. So they're switching over to the greens. All right. Oh, interesting. All right. Amnykon moves their other yellow out, leaving them with just the one green ship at home. Even though Amnykon already has a yellow piece at home through this star, I usually don't like to remove my last ship of any one color from a system unless I need to. So I think I would not have done that. Not usually. Then again, I wouldn't have picked a blue star for this other yellow ship either, since there's nothing he can do there other than trade to another color, and then what are you going to do? I think probably what Amnykon is going to want to do is build another green and then move it to system 4 here. All right, let's see what Crit does. All right, they trade for red. That's a good time to trade for red, I think. Because Amnykon doesn't have anywhere that they would like to trade for red. They'd be giving up... I mean, clearly they don't want to trade their large green for a red, then they'd have nowhere to build. They could build it... Oh, I mean, I guess they could still build at 5, but... and they don't want to trade their medium yellow for a red either, because then it's trapped there. So Amnykon will want to get a red very soon. It's not horribly urgent that they do, but yeah, they need to hurry a little bit here. Yeah, Amnykon just builds as they should. Now Crit builds a little red. They may be hoping to use up all the smalls before Amnykon gets in there. Amnykon, of course, can trade this little green for a red, and that would be all right. Now, if I were... Okay, I'm going to undo here, take advantage of the fact that we can back up a turn. I think if I were Crit here, I think they should at least strongly consider No, no, I think building the small red's probably right. I was looking at what would happen if they went ahead and fired their bullet and moved the little yellow off to Amnykon's home. They would be able to blow up Amnykon's yellow star by sacrificing the Y2, moving the little yellow there, sacrificing the G3 to build, but then they'd be left with no larges at their home, and Crit would really be in trouble. But so they shouldn't do that. It's not time to go on the offensive just yet. All right. So Amnykon trades for the red, as they should. All right. Crit, by trading for a blue here, closes off the medium reds. So if Crit builds red, they'll get a small instead, and gives Crit a little head start in the blues here. Amnykon builds green again. And another green build. Okay, so Crit. Green is a... I would like to really figure out what it is about trying to get ahead in greens that's so weird and difficult, but you don't want to get behind in greens. When you sacrifice a green ship to try to build lots of any other color, you can, for example, sacrifice a large green to build 3 yellows at once. But if you try to do that with greens, you only ever come out one more green ship up than you would have by just building one at a time, since you had to lose one to gain 3. So greens are kind of funny. All right, and yeah, Crit gets into the blues. I think that's the right move. Or I think it also would have been reasonable for them to move the G1 out here to system 4. All right, Amnykon, or sorry, Crit though, is now taking the last of the small blues, leaving Amnykon free to take a medium blue. Oh, interesting, they didn't take it. I think if I'd been Amnykon, I would have built the medium blue out here. Yeah, they moved the little blue to a yellow system, and now they can't build more blue. I don't know that that's wise. Both players still with just one red ship, so if there were a colony invasion out here somewhere, somebody would probably sacrifice their only red ship, which might reset things a bit too as far as competing over reds. Okay. Crit moves out with the yellow, discovering the last green small in the process. So I think if I were Amnykon, I would build the medium green. Yep, they do. And Crit could also build a medium green if they had a mind to do so. No, interesting. All right, they decided to discover the last small red. That is pretty odd. I think Amnykon should seriously consider invading that colony with the yellow, since that little green can't run away. Amnykon can pick up a small green piece that way. Okay. They build a medium red instead. That's also not crazy. All right, let's see. Yeah, so they're both pushing hard on the reds now. Crit went ahead and built medium red as well, opening up Amnykon to build the first large red. And Crit won't be able to build a large red after that because they'd overpopulate. And then Amnykon could block Crit from building a large red by trading one of these. So I think that feels like a mistake to me. Amnykon will get a... Oh! Interesting. Amnykon decided not to build that large red. I wonder... They're both being a little more cautious than they really need to. Neither of them... Well, Amnykon at least doesn't seem to like to get even 3 pieces of the same color together, even when Crit is not in a position to have actually moved a third red to Amnykon's home. Interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't have done that. I definitely would have built that large red. All right, well, they're both spreading out, so either of them can... Soon, somebody's going to build a large red. So Amnykon can build one large red at home, or they could sacrifice the G3 to build 3 large reds. And if they put one at home, so if they put 2 of them at home and 1 in 4, then Crit can blow up the 2 large reds and the small red with medium yellow sacrifice. They'd lose 2 mediums. So I don't like that very much for Amnykon. Should they build one large red at home and 2 in 4, Crit would still have to sacrifice a yellow in order to blow those up. I think that's a pretty reasonable move. Sacrifice the G3, build 1 large red at home, and 2 here in 4. I would strongly consider that. Yeah. Oh no, but they didn't do that. They built the 2 back at their home. You know, I think even better might have been for Amnykon to sacrifice the green 2 to just build 2 large reds and let Crit get 1. Amnykon would come up ahead by 1 large red that way. That's not what they picked. They put 3 in their home. I don't like that very well. Crit can blow those up with the Y2 sacrifice. Let's see if they do. Yep, they do. So here we're seeing the disadvantage of the Homeworlds live replays, that we just see the results of lots of actions. That was Y2 sacrifice to move this red 2 times to get to Amnykon's home, and a catastrophe of the reds. But it just happens all at once here, which is a little harder to follow. Okay. Amnykon's turn now. They may want to reinforce their home immediately by bringing the large red back, or the medium greens and yellows are available for them to build. They might want to either build a medium yellow here in 5 or a medium green back at home. Let's see what they pick. Oh, they're in... all right, so sorry, I backed up again. So they're going on the offensive. They're moving a medium red to system 3, threatening this little yellow, but the little yellow can just run away. So I don't like that very well. I think they would have been better off invading, well, 7 or 8, because those ships can't run away for free. So I'm sure Crit will just move that little yellow away. They could move back to their home, which would give them a very safe place to build their yellows back, or they could go out and discover a new system. Yep, they moved it back home. I think that's very good. Overall, even though... I think the state is still pretty even right now, I think, but although I prefer Crit's blue situation. I think that's the thing to watch here, is that Amnykon can't build blues, but Crit can, and Crit has a head start in the blues. Crit also has head start on they've got 2 green ships, and they're spread out compared to Amnykon's 1 green ship. And although... So the colors where Amnykon has advantages are yellow and red, which are important colors, yellow especially. They can only build in one of those places. They can only build yellow here in Colony 5. They can only build red here in Colony 3. And the reds that they build are Gilligan's. They're stuck there. Red ships at a green system can't move or diversify, so Amnykon with a material advantage, Crit with a little bit of an economic advantage, I think. All right, let's see how this goes. Amnykon's turn. All right, they take that medium red. So with 2 red ships now on Crit's threshold on their doorstep, with a Y2 sacrifice, Amnykon could blow up Crit's red home star, since they've got a little red here. So I think Amnykon, or Crit would want to move their little red out of here, their only red ship, but they've got nowhere they can really go. All of the small pieces are taken from the bank, and their home is only connected to small systems. So a few pretty bad choices. Crit can just leave it here and let Amnykon blow up their star, or they can move this R1 to one of these colonies, but in moving to either of those, they give Amnykon the chance to invade that colony with the larger medium ship, threatening to capture, or they could sacrifice it to achieve nothing. I don't. There's no good options here, I don't think. Now, so if I were in this position, I would now be eyeing, what if I just leave it and let Amnykon blow up my star? In that case, you've got no red left, so you need red immediately. Other than that, things aren't too bad. Amnykon's home does not have a large in it, and the homes are now connected, so Crit would actually be able to move their large into Amnykon's undefended home. Amnykon would need to immediately sacrifice their yellow 1 to move their large red back to home. And then since Crit doesn't have a red, that would be safe for Amnykon, and so Crit could then use Amnykon's own yellow star to just move back to their own home. And Amnykon is down to just 3 ships at that point. And even though Crit would be down a star, things wouldn't look too bad. So I would, since everything else is so bad, I would actually consider just letting Amnykon blow up my star. Yeah, they do. So they build a medium yellow. That's good. And I think Amnykon is probably going to blow up that star. No. Okay, they move the large red back home. I think that's a good. Yeah, that's a good move. They anticipated maybe the things that I was saying about when this star blows up, then Crit can invade and force Amnykon to sacrifice the little yellow. So by defending beforehand, that's not going to be an option for Crit once the homeworlds are connected. They won't be able to invade. And of course, this rotten situation for this little red hasn't gone anywhere. They've still got the same problem where the smalls are all gone. So this little red has nowhere safe to go, except now. Okay, so a pleasant side effect of Crit's build here is that Crit could now sacrifice this little yellow to move this red out to a new small yellow system, where it would be able to run away if the medium yellow threatened it. And it's out of the homeworld, so it's not threatening to be part of an overpopulation anymore. Okay, that's cute. I don't know if that's what they had in mind when they built this medium yellow, but I think if I were here, I would terraform this ship, as we say. Turn it into a star with a sacrifice and move. Okay, nope, they're not going for that. Crit, I didn't actually see what they built. Was it the green medium? Yeah, they built the medium green. Yeah, I guess that's all right. I mean, there are worse things. But the threat of losing that star is pretty severe still. If I were Amnykon, I'd be building up blues to, since Crit still has a blue ship next to their blue home star here. It only takes one more blue ship, and Amnykon will have enough material to blow up both stars. Oh, interesting. Goodness. So I'm going to back up. Make sure I saw that right. Yeah, so Amnykon sacrificed their medium green to build 2 more reds. So, Amnykon has a large material advantage. But having 3 of the same color in your homeworld, even when it's not under threat immediately, is a little spooky. Of course, Crit can't build this last large red, because that makes the catastrophe even cheaper for Amnykon to blow up one of Crit's home stars. No, I think that was probably the right move for Amnykon. That was good. All right, let's see what Crit comes up with. I'm not sure I saw what happened. Okay, so they're sacrificing. Okay, they sacrificed large green. They rebuilt their large green. Oh, well, I guess there are 2 ways of doing this that would have worked out exactly the same. They sacrificed one of these 2. That's funny. I can't tell which move they made. They sacrificed one of these 2 greens, built 2 medium greens here in System 8, and if it was the large green that they sacrificed, then they rebuilt the large green here in their home. That's, oh, you know what? No. It has to have been, the large green sacrifice, because there is still a medium green here in their home when this is done. Okay, so it was large green sacrifice, 2 medium green builds in System 8, and a large green build back at home. Okay, so interesting. Amnykon now only has access to green here in System 5. They may want to trade large red for large green here, just so they've got a green ship. Let's see what they do. No. Okay, so they finally do the star catastrophe. That's sacrifice medium yellow to move these 2 red ships into Crit's home. Ooh. Let's see, where does that leave us? So that leaves Crit without any red whatsoever. And if they don't have red on their next turn, Amnykon will invade with a large red and win pretty quickly thereafter, I think. So what does Crit do? Crit needs to trade one of their home ships for a red. I guess they could also do their they could also trade this small blue for a red, but doing it with one of the home ships seems safer to me. Yep, I think that's a good choice. Now Amnykon is threatened. Amnykon only has reds at their home, and so if they don't get rid of one of those, either moving it or trading it, then Crit will move their medium red. They can move it directly from their home to Amnykon's home to win. So Amnykon needs to get rid of one of those. Yeah, they trade it for green. Yeah, that seems all right. Now Crit, they could build medium yellow. Since Amnykon's only yellow is not in a connected system, they could build blue, try to push their blue advantage here. Got a few different options. Let's see what they go for. Not sure if I saw what happened there. Was it just the... Okay, they moved small yellow here to System 8. All right, that spreads out their yellows nicely, so they've got more room to build yellows. I think that is a very good thing. See how Amnykon responds. See, make sure I saw that right. Sorry for the back and forth. I'm just making sure there's not a sneaky sacrifice going on somewhere. That was really just a simple action of moving small yellow from 5 to 7. Amnykon may be feeling like they would very much like to have a blue ship, and would probably be willing to sacrifice their medium red to pick up this blue. I think that's a pretty good move, especially since Crit can't safely capture that invader, because that would be sacrificing their only red ship to do it, which is not safe. So they build a medium blue in System 7. That's interesting. That doesn't prevent Amnykon from capturing the little blue. And of course, if Amnykon were to capture the little blue, Crit would not want to capture both of those ships because they'd be losing their only red. Golly. I don't see that that does all that much for them. Well, we'll see how Amnykon responds. Okay, they build a medium yellow. Okay, so now if Crit continues to hang around there, Amnykon can capture both of these blue ships, and Crit doesn't have a way to run them away for free. Although Crit could just build another blue here, and then if Amnykon captured them, then Crit could build again and catastrophe what Amnykon just invested to capture. I don't like that move very much, though. I think if I were Crit, I'd probably build that blue here, or move my little blue to System 8, or I don't know, or sacrifice one of these blues to trade some ships in System 8 for more interesting colors, for some more diversity. They did. Let me see if I saw that right. Okay, so they sacrificed small blue. Okay. They sacrificed the small blue to trade the medium blue to a medium yellow. So now Amnykon can't build these large yellows that have just been opened up, because that would be an overpopulation. I mean, they could, but it would be an overpopulation, and that doesn't really benefit them. And if they don't do that, then Crit is going to build some large yellows, and they're caught up in material. So I think if I were Amnykon here, I would move one of these two yellow ships to a new large yellow star, so that Crit can only build one large yellow. That would, wow. I am really impressed with that move. Way to go, Crit. Let's see what Amnykon does. Oh, interesting. They're just building a small green. Wow. No, I think that's a pretty big mistake, because Crit now should sacrifice medium green to build two large yellows. Oh, what do they do instead? No. Okay, well, I was praising Crit before, but I don't think this is as good a move. Okay, so they are sacrificing large green to build a large yellow in 7, and build a large yellow here in 1, and then calling catastrophe. And I don't know what they're doing with that other build action. Let's look and see. Oh, and then building a small yellow here in System 8. That's all right, I suppose, but I think sacrificing the medium green for two large yellow builds is much better. Okay, well, there we are. Here's what we've got. All right, Amnykon's turn now. How do they fire back? Amnykon now has no yellow ships. They've got one blue, but they can't build with it. They're doing all right on green and red, though, before they do any more building, they need to spread out. So I think they're going to spread out their ships. Yep, spreading out the red. I think I would have moved that red to a system where it could have done something more, because now it's stuck. All right, Crit's turn. Okay, an investment in a large yellow star, keeping that out of circulation for now. That wasn't terribly necessary, though, I think, because Amnykon doesn't actually have any yellow. Don't need to play keep away if your opponent isn't in the game yet. I think they could have just built a yellow anywhere they wanted. All right, and I think Amnykon needs, and probably should have done this before, needs to get active with their large ship advantage. One of these larges should be invading System 8 in a couple of moves. I think on their previous turn, instead of moving this medium red to a new system, I think they should have moved the large red to System 6, threatening to move it into 8, so that they could start capturing anybody that didn't flee. Make your opponent waste time saving those ships. All right, let's see what Amnykon does now. Okay, threatening the investment. Of course, he can just run away, but now that he's here, this does put Amnykon's large ship one move away from invading System 8, but Amnykon has made a critical error, and you may have spotted it before I did here. They've bluebirded themselves. They've left themselves with only 2 ships at their home, and they are the same color. And Crit has a large yellow, so Crit could win on this very move by sacrificing their large yellow and moving this green from 10 and either of these greens from 8 twice, say the System 6 and then into 2 for the catastrophe. And so Crit should win this if they spot it. That's an error from Amnykon. Did they see it? Let's see if the game ends. Yes, they saw it. Okay, wow. Well, so let that be a lesson to you that even between very strong players, Amnykon is a very good player. Amnykon is number 1, both in the current arena season and in the overall standings with ELO points. Amnykon is no slouch, but even among very strong players, lots of games are lost in blunders like this, rather than through any particular traps and genius of the winning player. So really, really, you need to be careful. All right, well, that was interesting. Crit hasn't been playing for as long as Amnykon. Amnykon is a really good player. They beat me all the time. So I'm surprised by this outcome, but that was an interesting game. Well, thank you guys for watching. There will be a link to this game in the video description. Bye-bye.